What's up, guys? How's it going? I'm at least a couple of minutes to give somebody else a chance to come in. I got one viewer. Thank you, my one viewer. I got one viewer. Thank you, my one viewer. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. You know, streaming executions, wifey streaming executions and things like that. Romance, necromancy, capturing people's soul and destiny swapping. These are some very interesting conversations to have, and we give a few minutes and stuff like that. I'll give a few minutes for a couple of people to come in. I was thinking about this stuff with ERIKA KIRK. It's amazing. Let me just go ahead. So let me just mention this for a second to start off here. This map of consciousness is a very important tool for me to sort of organize a lot of chaos that I see around me, right? And when you talk about these narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, basically, these are the people who are at the pre-human, I would say the pre-human stage. This is where all your NPCs are, your non-player characters, this is the reality for the backdrop people, right? And what do I mean by backdrop people? These are all the people who are necessary to maintain the environment that you live in order for you to have a real simulated experience, right? And it's a masterful design, right? Because it almost ensures that the conscious will rule at some point. I mean, if you have a certain mass of conscious people who are conscious, wouldn't they be able to manage a group of unconscious people? Right? You would think so. But here, let's see if that's possible. But here, all narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths come from where you came, the bottom. The only issue is you continue to develop, you continue to mature, you continue to grow, you continue to stabilize, you continue to set more boundaries, you continue to refine yourself. And these people never did. They didn't do anything like that. They took the shortcut. Right? They take the shortcut every time. In fact, they only operate on short-term goals. It's hard for them to achieve anything of any prolonged success because it involves having to continue to give and give and give. And so they can only manage short-term goals. That's why narcissists always give you short-term goals in front of you as a way of distracting you from your long-term goals. It's the long-term goals that are going to improve your life. A short-term goal is like what you're going to eat for the next meal. A long-term goal is what type of person you want to be in the long run, right? At the end of my life, I want to be surrounded by those who love me, and I would like the community to know that I did a lot to try to improve its function and the status. And I'm good with that, Here, so let's look at this ERIKA KIRK issue here. And, of course, that, let's see, she was with TPUSA. Okay, let me see here. So let me see here. Okay, ERIKA KIRK funeral video. Let me see here. Okay. So let me okay. All right. Okay. Let me just say this. This video creeps me out. Woo, it creeps me out. Because if you stand back and look, it appears to me the lady allegedly was in on this public execution in front of her children, and then she does this. She's streaming her mourning, and then posted it on a social media platform. This is a private moment and then think about Charlie and whether or not he would have agreed with her to have his body displayed on TikTok, or what was it? Was it Instagram? For the people who believed him the most to view his dead body. There's something sick about these narcissists, sociopaths. That's deep seated. That's that type of behavior is deep seated. Let me just go here. So let me have, look, tragic. I think this is the only story. This is the only story that you can put this in this category. Look. Okay, look here. We got another term. What, evil? Let's see. Vengeful, denying, punitive, disdainful, despising, eliminate. Is it despondency? What is despondency? I think despondent is just you just don't. A state of low spirits caused by loss of hope or courage. We hint to our own loss of hope. I'm not sure if she is I'm not sure if this is despondency, but abdication. Did she abdicate her relationship? Destruction? Is she destroying the relation? I don't know. Having people view. I don't know. Okay, but it's somewhere down here. I can't see any of his behavior. I can't say anything up here, right? So, and the tragic thing about the tragic thing about this thing is that, and if she is orchestrated his execution, now she's publicly pretending that she's mourning. So if she was a part of this, then if she's a part of it, then this is a performance, right? If she wasn't a part of this, then I'm not sure if this is mourning, right? And there's things about when you listen to these narcissists, remember I said they're freaks. And when you listen to them closely, they're perverted. I sort of view this as when that narc sort of unalives you, they have to take something personal of you, like hair or garments like underwear or things like shoes or things to remind the narcissist of what they've done to that person and got away with it. But they seem to hide the things that they take from their victims, and they don't want people to get them, because when they go back and view these items, they can sort of relive the situation again to get more fuel and energy from their situation. Because remember, down at the bottom is survival of the fittest. So they're not thinking, they're only responding instinctively, but they're not thinking. Why? Because they're in that lower compartment in reality. And you can only dismantle things from there. It's only survival of the fittest. And so again, she hasn't done anything wrong here, right? She hasn't done anything wrong. She's surviving, right? She's going to take over TPUSA, and then she's going to elect the next vice president. And then that connection is going to give her even more connections at the global level. I mean, she can take this TPS USA to billionaire dumb, well, before this, but Listen to how she grieves. She says, it just doesn't sound right. And I think it's that. So, but when I said that eyes have never seen or ears never heard a narc like this before, is those narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, when they steal the items from their victim, they typically hide it. But she is doing something different. She's displaying it. And when she displays it, you can actually hear the ritual she goes through. And my title is Romance. It's sort of like a romantic. She's trying to cast this in a romantic story, like a deep widow or lost, a deep widow. But she ain't talked about him since, right? She doesn't talk about. I mean, when she's doing her production, and everything is about her being a CEO, not the widow, right? Listen to this and how creepy this is. Just listen.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I know.
We get a chance to very seldom do you get do the narcissists expose themselves after they harm you. They usually by themselves or with other narcs. They're not usually around people who are outside of their network, right? And so here she's taking this camera and intentionally filmed this performance, thinking it's going to lead to whatever she thought, but then it brings up a lot of other questions about her intentions and what's going on here. So I wonder if this is her taking the thing from the victim. This performance is her taking the thing from the victim. And then look at his hands, displaying his hands and things like that, you know, displaying his body and things like that. And this whole performance is for the purpose of her stepping into his shoes and taking off with what he created. So not only does this fake romance story exist here because it seems to be it's I don't know what this behavior is called, questionable. The necromancy part of it, you know, she's being intimate with his deceased body. And I know she's grooming. I know I think she's grieving. But this publicly is a little bit too much, you know.
I love you so much. I love you. God bless you.
And then, look, I mean, so this is this is a post-execution romance, something like that, necromancy, you know. And I wonder if this is an attempt to swap destinies. Now, remember, go back to my previous video when I was trying to explaining that the energy difference between people with empathy and those without is I mean, it's a logarithmic scale. Look, it's a logarithmic scale. That's why you can that's why when they can attack you in how many numbers, but you most likely will survive, right? You get a bunch of 20s with shade, you can handle 5 of them, you can handle 20 of them and still work, right? Here, let's see. So now ERIKA is trapped down here. Charlie, I would say, was up here, right? So destiny swapping is the process of her taking the items, the position, the class that he's in, the categories that he's in, the connections that he's in, is a chance for her to access these things by eliminating him. So her normal life trajectory, being a low energetic being that only operates through instinct, not thought, action, reaction. So she's not satisfied with that, and so she destiny swaps with him here. And the way it appears that she destiny swapped is through this whole fiasco that we're seeing, and then taking over, such as the widow hero, and moving into politics and things like that, before his body was even cold. Right? And this is the point of the energetic people. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to swap your destinies by removing you from the things that you've built. Right? This is a another problem, particularly like I see on the south side of Chicago, is with the employers, is that can't nobody make any progress because the people who run these large networks steal all the excess for them. And that's why they have so many lynchmans and volatile figures like narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths running around the industry or the communities or the environments or the workplace, targeting people at will, because they have to keep the whole population. In apathy, guilt, shame, anger, despair, all this. They have to keep you here. And when they keep you here, you die on your own, right? You die on your own. And so, because it's survival of the fittest. So ERIKA destiny swapped here. And what she's trying to do is she's trying to maintain it. So that's why they're expanding as quick as they can. So they want to expand as much as they can to grow out of this localized localized controversy, so they can sort of continue to work as an organization. If you look at how complex TPUSA's business model is, it's very, very sophisticated in terms of trying to get as much opportunity to grow, right? Based on the focus seems to be based on growth, but none of the investments after Charlie's death seem to involve things that he valued the most, right? And so those things seem to have been shuffled in the background, and the other political messages seems to have resurfaced. And it's mainly the only lens that we look through this now. If we were ambivalent about, if we had different ways of looking at this thing, then you would say that she didn't do it. But if all the lens that come up with she's a central figure, then narcissism is a network. And like I said before, these narcissists, their number one rule is to keep my friends close and my enemies closer. So they all look up to Judas, which, for here, now let me show you here. Here's another thing I noticed here. Now here at the bottom here, their Jesus figure is Judas, right? Where up at the top here, the Jesus figure of the Christ consciousness, this high consciousness here, the central figure is Jesus, right? Now, what did Judas do? Judas got so close to Jesus that he kissed Jesus on the cheek. So that has to be the narcissist that was a hole in one for the narcissist to kiss your face. I mean, think about that. A narcissist gets so close to they actually put their lips on your face. That's why the story of Brutus is so brutal, right? Is because they have to get close to you in order to understand how to target you, right? Let me see here. Oh, wow. Eve 3131. That was one of the creepiest moments in social media. Yeah. Yep. I agree. Eve, I agree. Yeah, she was holding Charlie's pendant, cross, and St. Michael's meter like a trophy. Yeah. See, this is what I was saying when I was talking about soul capturing. I believe the soul capturing part is like when they take the items from the person and stuff like that. And I think that's what she's doing here. And this is so creepy. Let's see. Hey Sage, can I just have one thing that I would have been it? That would have been it, Erica. Yeah. Thanks for the question. So this Judas figure for them down here at the bottom, all of them. This is where Judas comes from, and I think Judas being one of the disciples, or one of Christ's disciples. Okay, sight, hearing. Okay, look at the senses. I think I just thought about something. Okay, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and what else? Sight. What are the 5 senses? Okay, well, anywhere there's 6 senses. I'm a doctor. I should be able to, I should be able to think about the 5 senses. Hold on a second. What are the 5 senses? Okay, great. Okay, hearing, smell, taste, touch, vision. See, okay, you have 5 senses. But then there's also one sense that they never tell you about. That's internal sense of self, right? So you know who you are. It's been the same since you were a child, right? It has never changed. You've been the same. The internal sense of self is a 6th sense, okay? And so I wonder if the 12 disciples represent like the sensory input experience, and Judas is going to always be there. See, what I'm trying to say is I was thinking that first I was thinking that Judas was probably one person in my life, right? Just like Judas was one person in Jesus' life. But Judas was a part of Jesus's team, right? And Jesus forgave him, right? Instead of, it's too easy for Judas to be one person in your life. Judas is the weakest motherfucker around you, right? Judas is the weakest motherfucker around you. Let me show you how this is true. They're always disdainful, right? They are always despising. They are always miserable. Look, they're always destruction, right? Look, don't they abdicate their responsibility to you? I mean, don't they do that all the time? And when they talked about you behind your back, isn't it despiteful? Isn't it vindictive? And don't they condemn you to other people? They describe you as disdainful, right? Look at these. Look, blame. Look how low energy these people are. So if you look in your family system, if you come from a sick family system, like I did, I mean, you have 2 or 3 Judases right there. And then you go into the whatever environment you are, and then there they are. They are posted up there like gargoyles, posted up there, waiting for you to enter the environment. And as soon as you enter the environment, they have the right to inflict as much psychological and emotional pain and torment as they want in those environments. Why? Because they're protected by the man. Why? Because the man himself a narc, and those are baby narcs, right? And so when you deal with these narcissists at work, you're dealing directly with the boss. Man, come on. You're dealing with the boss. The boss has his receptors out there picking up everything so they can understand everything about their organization. Why? Because they're going to bring in all the money and all the resources. Why? For themselves, right? So that narc that narc that's targeting you at work, at school, and all these, they're playing a very important role for that organization. Like here, to agree to a public to stream a post execution romance, streaming she done unalived him. She seems to be an unalived man to public execution, and then she gonna get intimate with him, with his body. She gets and start kissing on his body, and then she records it, and then she lets everybody see. Right? Tragic. Also, when you look at some of the features ERIKA has, if you look at the things in high, the spiritual, none of these things are there. Peace, joy, love, none of these things are there. Reverence, serenity, bliss, perfect, complete, benign, loving, all one. No, she came out as powerful. She came out as strong. She came out as brave, right? She came out as resilient. She came out as bounced back. Everything. So I think all of those things. I think all of those things are the mask that she's putting on, that she's using to represent herself to the world. But I think it has so many holes in it that people are not buying it, because it doesn't resemble anything normal. Let's see here. Okay, ERIKA said, I can just have one thing when Harris asked her where Charlie Bodies is. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that. Okay. Hey, Eve Touch. Yep. Muhammad, buddy, how's it going, man? How's it going, Muhammad? Look, weak and envious Judas. Yeah, they disorient our intuition, and confuse people. It is so hard when someone grows up in a narcissistic family. So much betrayal. Oh yeah, I mean, just sick. I agree with you, Eve. I agree with you. Here, Muhammad, how's it going, man? Why does intimacy often follows spectacle in these networks? Necromancy. Necromancy. They see the worst thing. Well, not the worst thing, but one of the worst things of this global elite pedophile network, abusing 14-year-old children, is they want the young lives because they want to destroy innocence. So they want to get to the person as young as possible and destroy their innocence. That's why they're targeting like 14-year-old girls. And when they destroy the innocence of a person before they live, they rob them of all of the good experiences they're going to have in the true future. They rob them of all of the caring, of all the love. They take all of those things from them, right? And the person is so traumatized that it forces them to live in their aggressor's reality. And this is the worst thing that you can do to a person. Let me just tell you, and this is a male issue that men need to deal with, because these are men behaving like this. This is not a women problem. This is a man problem. This is an emergency amongst men. This is an emergency amongst men. Men cannot allow men to target 14-year-old girls. And what do? We sit down. I mean, what do you sit as men? Do we sit down and just watch this? Oh, it's disgusting. But these sick narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths, they can manage their self-esteem. They can manage their self-esteem. They can feel normal. They cannot feel depressed, knowing that they took the most valuable thing that a young person has, and that's her internalized sense of self. And let me just tell you how brutal this is and why this is a male problem. Serious male. This is a serious male crisis, particularly if they don't respond. I forgot what the point was. So men cannot let this happen. Okay, so they're trying to, okay, when they rob the girl of her innocence, it boosts their self-esteem. And so they have to, and it causes the release of endorphins. And it causes them to become more relaxed and more at peace. Remember, when the narcissist frustrates you, lies on you, triangulates you, and then when you react, they're calm and they're relaxed. Where they're calm and relaxed because they can see the reaction that they've had from you. They know it's unfair. And then with all of that stuff, they just sit back and start relaxing. When you are in your most despair that they created, that's when they're most relaxed. That high only lasts as long as you're out of control. Once you reestablish your control and pull out the manipulative strings of the narcissist, then that's when they start to become erratic children and start to act up again, right? So when one of these sick narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, unalive a 14-year-old girl through sexual assaults, repeated sexual assaults, and things like that, they can yet live for decades with us like that, relaxed and calm, like decades, relaxed. I can do this for like a year. And then if they keep her scent, or if they keep her garments, like undergarments and things like that, for her around, they can just smell that and realize how they tortured her, how they beat her, how they unalived her, and they can remember her cries and everything, all the torture that they did to these young girls. They remember it, and then they now get the added benefit that our government supports them. They have a government support program. You mean powerful narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopath pedophiles have a government support program now? And what are we all supposed to do with this same government? I mean, and what does that say as us as a country or us as a nation? You can't survive like that. You can't survive as a nation like that. Not when when they don't protect the 14-year-old girls. You can't. A house divided by itself cannot stand. And those 14-year-old girls will produce the future. So what does soul capture represent psychologically? See, I think the soul capturing is when they unalive the 14, like it seems like she did hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, on call. Okay, soul capture is, and so when he thinks about what he did to this young girl and gets away with it, it boosts his self-esteem and it makes him calm and relaxed. And he's the same way he would be. He's the same way for years. He'll feel the same way for years, the same way the narc feels when they're targeting you and getting away with it. That's when they become all calm and cool, Okay, so I think that's what it is. Now, I don't get into all this stuff. It's the necromancy. So, this is YouTube stuff. this YouTube stuff from me being as a psychiatrist, but I think there are people who look into all this stuff, and I'm just doing the names. So if you look definitely, I didn't even look what the stuff means. I know what necromancy means, soul capturing. It seems like this is YouTube, okay? It's YouTube entertainment, right? The government is one of the big, one big pedo protection agency. Yeah, uncivilized as a society that refuses to protect women and children. Yeah, we are in a crisis. So I hope that's helpful for you. And let me know if you guys have any other questions. Remember, my podcast is Narcissism is a Network. We're going to look at ERIKA KIRK and her post-execution romance, necromancy, soul capturing, and destiny swapping, right? And remember, these narcs right next to you, the mother, that narc father, that narc sister, that narc brother, that narc husband, that narc wife, that narc child. That's it right there. That's it. If you are able to break your attachments for all those idiots, I mean, you'll do very well. And I would encourage you. I'm not the type of psychiatrist that tell people to stay and get along. I'm the type of psychiatrist that tells you to leave, right? For all of you guys who are being abused by these sick people, the only solution is to let go, right? It's the only solution to let go, because you start to encounter all the disadvantages of being at the bottom. You have to take care of yourself first, meaning seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and everything will be added unto you. That really works. What does that mean? Let me just tell you this. Let me tell you how to get to heaven real quick before I leave. Just how to get to heaven, right? So this area here, this is the high frequency area. All right. Now this demarcation here, I think this is the only place where you can produce anything. Anything below this is going to be hard to produce anything, and definitely at this lowest level, everything is dismantled. This is the life cycle right here. I think this is the beginning, this is the middle, and this is the end. I believe that this spectrum is the life cycle of all the objects in the universe. So every object, everything in the universe is an object. Absolutely everything in the universe is an object. Even if you go down to the molecular levels, like with DNA, these are just very complex miniature molecular machines, but they are objects. And this is the beginning, this is the middle, that's the end. So you want to attach to all the objects that are just created, right? Because they go through their life cycle. You don't want to attach to the objects at the end of their life cycles, right? So the narcissist, psychopath, and sociopath never began their life cycle. They're all stuck. They're stuck at the pre-human phase, hoping to get the upload so that they can participate at higher levels of reality, but they can't, right? So it's a pleasure. And feel free to, I got one more question. Yeah. Hey, Eve, they don't respect boundaries, so no contact is only solutions for the peace of souls. You're absolutely right. See, boundaries, here, down here, you only have thought, action, and reaction. It's all instinct. So that's why they never listen. That's why boundaries is a cognitive things. Now, in these areas here, in these areas, you have thought, you have action, then you have thought, then you have reaction. So these people, the people in this region, actually think about things before they react, right? They think about things before they react first, right? So this is only survival of the fittest, action, reaction, action, reaction. Here is action, thought, reaction, right? And when you get up to here, right, at this level, then something else changes. You have an action, and then you have a thought, but you do not have a reaction. And that's the point of healing. You do not react. You see it, it happened, but you do not react, right? So that's why I said the only solution to dealing with narcissists is no contact, and only skill is to shut up and sit down, not to produce any objects verbally, and do not produce any objects with your behavior, right? Up here is when you think about it, when it happens, is an action, and then there's a thought, but there's no reaction. Now, this is still, all of this is how the ego is designed. This grid system, this is sort of like layout of the whole ego. It's a very interesting consciousness map. It's like a layout of the ego. And the ego is the index, the software index in your brain that codes everything. It helps you understand this is up, this is down, this left, this right, this black, this white, this order, all those things encoded in the ego. And so I think this is also a representation of ego. Now, you want to reach the point above this enlightenment where you escape the ego. See, that's what Jesus taught. You should escape the ego. When you escape the ego, here's what it looks like. You have an action and you don't even think about it at all. You just move on. No matter what happens, you don't even think about it. You just move on. That makes sense? So if you want to end your suffering, you have to escape the ego. And narcissist is a network. I'm talking about people with primitive egos who are locked into egos and believe everything their egos have to say. Right? So primitive action, reaction, adults, action, thought, reaction, healed action, thought, but no reaction. If you want to be the GOAT, escape the ego. And if there's an action, don't even think about it. Just move on. Like, man, the man just stabbed me in my back. Well, they be doing shit like that all the time, man. Nigga, move the fuck on, man. Don't worry about it, man. Right? The man just shot me in the leg. Let me just move on. You can talk about it, man. Right? They took my money, man. They take money all the time. Fucking man, it's my fault. I never should have been around. That's how you get to the GOAT. Right? So it's a pleasure, guys. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And I hope this is helpful for you guys. Read out. Take care, guys. Ciao.